Hello everybody. Yesterday I was having a conversation with an on-site IT manager and he told me that Pavan, majority of the Indian IT employees are inefficient. Meaning if there is some work which can be done in 3 hours, they will take 6 to 8 hours to complete the same work. That is what he was telling me. And he was giving me the reasons such as people go on for a chai break, sutta break for like 30-40 minutes. Then out of curiosity, I asked him, but don't people in the US or UK take chai sutta breaks? And he was like, yeah, people do take it, but they don't go out as a group and they don't take 40-45 minutes, but rather they just complete their sutta break in 5 minutes and come back. And this is what he told me. But immediately I realized that this is a very common perception that Indian employees and IT employees specifically are inefficient. They would love to just sit back in the office and work for 10 to 14 hours every single day without questions. So let's talk through in this video why this perception is there, what are the reasons why this is not the case, and how you should be looking to overcome this. Let me start with the most important problem here, that if you are an employee working in the Indian offshore on-site kind of setup, you know for a fact that your schedule is driven by the client schedule. If your client is coming from Australia, you have to wake up by 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning or 6. If your client is from the US, then you are working till midnight. So your client availability determines how much you are stretching the time. So it is not just about 8 hours of work. It is not just about one break that you take, but it is about the client availability. And why is this client availability so important? Imagine there is a prod issue and 3 to 4 teams are working on it. All these teams are set up at the client location and you have to be up. You have to work simultaneously with them to resolve or help them resolve the issue. And these things might happen at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. And end of the day, the same guys will come back and say, hey, but the Indian counterparts are not very efficient. They work very late, unnecessarily. If there is no client, even if there is just an Indian counterpart from your same company, they will be in some or the other meeting. So you have to wait for 2 hours to just talk to them. This waiting, of course, counts into inefficiency, that you are taking longer time to do the same work. But is there any way in which you can avoid this? If you are the source of the problem, you also need to know how to fix that problem. That is something which the on-site managers should be thinking about. Forget about the client. Forget about your on-site counterpart. Even the leadership of the companies are sitting on-site. A product company, just take a product company where the sales are not happening in India. Majority of the leadership, when they sit in India, when they make decisions, the Indian leadership and the Indian managers should be available to talk to them late into the night. So once somebody graduates from that 3 to 5 years or 10 years experience talking to software managers and they become the leadership team, then they wait to talk to the leadership team. End of the day, doesn't matter how many years of experience you have, you're always in that waiting mode. Or you are just pitching to a new client again who are in a different geography. So this story continues and the perception that the Indians are inefficient will stay back. And the other argument is not just about waiting period, but also about not building a good rapport with the client. Because when your on-site counterpart and the client are working, let's say from the same office, same location, they get to have that personal relationship. If they take a day off, the client will say, this guy probably has some kind of urgency, personal emergency, so they are taking off. But they literally don't have much of an emotional connect with their offshore counterparts. So if an offshore employee takes an off, then the client will probably joke around in a negative way and say that, hey, this guy or this girl is taking off because he or she just did not complete the work. This emotional connect also plays a huge role, and that will also determine, these guys are not working, these guys are working, and these guys are inefficient. A lot of loose talk comes into the picture. It's just that you need to proactively go and have that good working relationships with the clients. But again, there is another issue over here. The on-site counterparts also don't want this to happen. If an on-site team member is directly building a relationship with the client, then what is the purpose of the on-site counterpart within your own company? There is no dependency on them and their role might be eliminated. So they make sure that the folks working out of India will not get any kind of client exposure or a meaningful client exposure. This is what is the entire backstory that happens. Let me know if I'm missing anything. But when somebody says that Indians are inefficient, they just don't understand this entire back picture. Just please share this video with them. them. Now, what can you do about it? What are the things that are under your control? Number one, when you are going into an interview, just make sure to ask, hey, where is the client from? Is the client coming from Australia, US or UK? Depending on what your working style is, depending on what your preferences are, you pick the right company. There are definitely a lot of IT services companies, a lot of technology companies. So don't give up on this important factor. The second one, let them say what they want to say, people around you, but you focus on upskilling. Because I'm going to release a crazy video on salaries in the next 1 week. Please do subscribe and click on the notifications because you don't want to miss that video. I'm going to share what are the 2-year mark salaries for somebody with 2 years experience. I'll also tell in that video why I'm choosing 2 years and not 10 years or 20 years. Even if you have 15 years experience, that video would still be relevant for you. So click on that notification button and we'll discuss through what are the current actual salaries that are paid to software engineers, management consultants, data analysts, all these different set of profiles. Now you go ahead and put in the comment box if you have any idea, if a software engineer with 2 years experience is working with a company fine-tuning their LLM models, how much would their annual salary be? And finally, coming into the third point that I want to communicate through this video, it won't help you if you are not getting that client visibility. You need to make sure, you need to understand what are the ways in which you can get that client visibility. It is also about being a little more street smart. Just your coding skills are not going to come into the picture here. There is a lot more to it. I made a video on how the kids from 90s are struggling in the IT industry. Please do watch that video and I have given some very interesting ideas. Do let me know how you found that video. Hope this video is helpful. Please do share it with the folks who say that, hey, Indian IT employees are not efficient. Thank you so much, guys. See you again in the next one. Bye-bye.